Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. We're having some difficulties here because of the storm. The weather's unbelievable. John Kiger walked here 22 miles, just got in. The camera's perfect on the other side. Thanks for watching our show. This is Pittsburgh Sportsline. This is our 110th show, so thanks for being here and watching us on Verizon 32. Only in Bethel Park on Comcast 7. A little assist to Aaron Ward. She explained to me, so I can tell you folks, you can't see Comcast 7 anywhere else because all the public access communities have Channel 7.
Wow.
So that's why it doesn't go to God's Country in Monroeville, Baldwin, where Chip tries to watch our show every week. He hasn't seen it yet, folks, and he's been with us.
Because I'm here.
Because he's here.
Okay.
we do have replays before we get too deep into this. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, and we got a great announcement here. Little Z, Zach Brenner, is back. He has, let me give you the file. Here it is, folks. Can you get it on that fake camera there that's bad? We have 103 copies of his certificate for plumbing. So that's a new record. We're not going to discuss that too much. But this isn't just a comedy show. We do talk sports, and we appreciate the great feedback. I was all the way out in Washington County today, and people have actually seen the show, and they're talking to us about it. I got a shout-out. They took magazines at, what is this, Crown Antique Mall. Go there on Black Friday, Smoking Jim. Black Friday. They got specials. They got antiques like you can't believe. I told the two nice ladies that I would do it. Go out there. That's one of your Black Friday tips. And what we do is we start with what's on our mind, and I'm going to go to Little Z for the first time in 2 months. What's on your mind, Zach Brenner?
Well, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, I just want to thank everybody for bearing with me while I went and got my plumbing school buttoned up. There's laughter already. I didn't even say anything yet. There's laughter already. Well, on a serious note, while I've been gone for a while, before I left, I called out Coach Tomlin and his coaching of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it appears that he's a big fan of Pittsburgh Sportsline, and he's been getting the message because the players' coach is finally starting to understand that you can't always be friends with all these guys and win games. So it seems to me like they're making the right move, sitting down Kiesel, sitting down Woodley, letting these young guys get after it, and I think it's paying dividends. We're 5-6. We're good to 6-6 if we could beat Baltimore on Thursday night, and we'll be back in the playoff hunt. We'll be back in the division, and I don't think anybody foresaw that a couple weeks ago. But we did play the Browns last week, and Randall Gay, the rabbit, really, Rudy Gay, really made Smoking Jim Frazier look a little benign in his criticism of him. So I just wanted to point that out. He had a pretty good game. Ike Taylor is still Ike Taylor. Smoking Jim found him too. So everybody at home can thank Smoking Jim Frazier for the Pittsburgh Steelers drafting Ike Taylor. He was never made for interceptions.
That's why he's a defensive player. Smoking Jim is ingrained out in my brain.
But it's good to be back, and I want to give a shout-out to number 29, Marc-Andre Fleury, too, for the Penguins. He's been playing really phenomenal when everybody pretty much had written him off and wanted to go with Thomas Vokoun, who apparently didn't have the guts to continue his career. I mean, I'm sorry. Get well, Thomas Vokoun.
Hold on, that's a blood clot. And what happened to your head?
I got this goalie mask on for Marc-Andre Fleury.
Okay.
And that's what's on my mind.
Keep it on.
It's a face made for radio.
Thanks, Zach. Hey, welcome back.
Wait till they get the chip.
Zach,
Wait till the revisitation.
welcome back. I just want to tell you, we've been missing something for a long time. I couldn't get anybody to replace you because I didn't want to. Nobody can fill the seat like you do, buddy, so thanks for coming back.
Hey, I appreciate it, and I'm happy to be here. It's good to be back. What's up, cameraman John, the intern?
Yeah,
he's not the intern no more.
He's a
now
volunteer.
So.
And he's on shaky ground right now because of what he told me before the show, and we're going to see.
Okay.
He's on probation, double secret probation. He knows what I mean. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green, you got the C. Levine. Hey, just real quick, just wanted to give a little shout out to my real good friend Kelly Irish. She brought me a sweet potato pie yesterday, and I tell you what, it rivals some of the best sweet potato pies I ever had in my life. Double chocolate cupcake she makes before.
We're revisiting
strawberry jam, good stuff. But what's on my mind is
You eat jam?
yeah. So
Don't ask him what it is. Please let him get what's on his mind.
What's on my mind is I was down at Heinz Field sitting with my old high school legendary football coach Pete Marino, and we watched 2 of the 4 WPIL games before he left. And just a shout out to some of the champs. North Catholic put it on Stowe Rocks. Head coach for North Catholic talked to him after the game is Luke Ravenstall's dad, the former mayor. First time they ever won a championship. Dan Rooney, a 1950 graduate in North Catholic, was there. Kevin Colbert, a 75 graduate. So it was a great, great night for them. South Fayette, as I predicted, and Chip was in on that prediction too, upset Aliquippa, and they got an outstanding quarterback. Looked like a young Peyton Manning.
What do you have him ranked at?
I have him ranked in the top 30 for seniors, and he's only a junior. So, you know, next year he'll probably be right up to the top of that list. But West Allegheny was able to beat Central Valley. 7 championships, like Chip pointed out yesterday, for Pelko's dad, who's only about 50, 51 years old. So he can actually coach another 20 years and really put some records way out there. But Gateway's dropping down to AAA, so that could stop some of his championships right there. And Central Catholic beat Woodland Hills. Of course, Central's allowed to recruit, and I think they should play in the Catholic League. But congratulations to Eric McAllister. And also, I want to also say we got the very proud of my main man, Al Levine, the talking machine, came out with the Pittsburgh Sportsline.
What's the name of that magazine?
It's
real simple.
It's a beautiful magazine. I tell you what, going around, taking it around some places, and I tell you what, within 2 years, this magazine will be bigger than Sports Illustrated. It's huge. It's great. I'm very proud of Al for all the hard work and dedication in getting something like this out. I've never met anybody that put out their own magazine before, so I'm very honored to be sitting with and knowing a Pittsburgh icon like Al Levine, the talking machine. And finally, I'm not here just for my good looks.
Really?
Everybody knows my draft pick a few years ago for the Steelers in the 6th round was Antonio Brown, leading receiver in the NFL, on pace to break the Steelers' single-season record and maybe break every receiving record number-wise, except for Marvin Harrison that put up 143 points at receptions. And lastly, but not least, I'm the only scout on the planet that said 2 years ago that compared RG3 to Cordell Stewart. And I said then that I don't care if you're black, white, or candy stripe, to play quarterback, you got to have a certain amount of toughness, because everybody gets pat on the back in college. But quarterback's going to take criticism. I don't care how good you are. You're going to take your share of criticism. And I told you I didn't think that he had the mental makeup to be able to withstand, you know, when he starts getting booed. And that's what's happening. He looks horrible out there. He's terrible. The two games ago, not only did he throw an interception at the end of the game, but in his post-game news conference, he says nobody was open. So he threw off the back of his foot. That's why he threw an interception. He said, plus, the play calling was predictable. The team knew what plays they were calling. And just think of it this week, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at your favorite NFL teams, look for, in the future, the Cleveland Browns to come up because they made an outstanding trade. But don't forget about the Rams. The Rams got 3 first-round picks because they reversed their trade slot for Washington, who gave up 3 first-round picks to move up to get RG3. That pick now this year will be probably the 5th pick overall. So the Rams not only had a first-round pick last year, they got a first-round pick this year and next year. So the Rams could be coming up just because somebody had to go after RG3. And I always said that Matt Cushing would be a better quarterback for Washington, and I think he deserves a tryout. So that's what's on my mind.
Smoking Jim, that was great. Everybody watch this again, right? Take these notes down, because I was one of the guys laughing when he told me that RG3 was like Cordell. And my hat, if I were wearing a hat, I'd take it off. Not tonight.
Thanks, Al.
Chip, Hainer, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Alan. It's some very good insights there, Jim.
Thank you,
When
sir.
we revisit, I've got some comments to add to that. But what's on my mind? What's on my mind right now is, once again, we're in the heart of the football season, and we're starting to get the playoff frenzy going. Steelers have played their way back into playoff contention. They're right now the number 7 seed in the AFC. Top 6 places go to the playoffs, so they've played their way in. But what's on my mind and what's driving me crazy is this episode between Bud Selig and Alex Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. Now, I cannot understand how Alex Rodriguez, he's suspended for 211 games. He's appealed it. It's been 6 months. We're going through all this legal wrangling, and nothing's happening, okay? And then I read today that possibly they'll get a decision from the arbitrator sometime in January. Well, what's taking you so long? The evidence has been presented. You make a decision. I mean, it should be black or white. Alex Rodriguez has had enough gall now to go ahead and sue Major League Baseball, and then he's amended his lawsuit to include Bud Selig. Well, let me tell you the 2 best things that could happen for baseball right now. You need to make Alex Rodriguez go away, and you need to make Bud Selig go away. Neither one of these guys are good for the game. And I'll tell you what, a better choice for commissioner of Major League Baseball would be Condoleezza Rice. That's what I think they should do. Bring a woman in to run the organization. She wouldn't take any crap from any men. She's been mentioned as one of the possible successors to Bud Selig. That's what I'd like to see happening, but that's what's on my mind.
We're going to revisit all that. I can't even comment what I want to. The guys have covered everything just about. Hockey we had. Football. Baseball. What else is there? Let me think. Well, thanks for your kind words, Smoking Jim, on the magazine. I appreciate it. I personally delivered to about 140 different places throughout the area, and we're getting a lot of great feedback. I was talking about last night, the event I was at with Howard Hanna the other night. It was just, or other day it was. It went into the evening, but it was a great fundraiser, and my hat goes off to the Howard Hanna people and helping the Children's Hospital and everything they do. I know they raised over $800,000. Smoking Jim, that 50-50 ticket, how about the people there pumped it up to the person won $1,201. That was half of a 50-50, not like some of the ones that you've been at. The money was there, buddy. It was there. They were giving away things like you couldn't believe. And then I thought, like I've been to a couple 50-50s, and the reason I'm on this is we do a lot of fundraising, and anybody that has it, I'll go into a couple others. But here's what I thought was ironic. Now, people have class or they don't have class. And my friend Bill Russo, he won one of the prizes. And it was like, I don't know, about 8 cases of beer. He donated it back. And then they bid on that, and it went for like $120, so that boosted up things again. Then another sponsor, now I don't know how all these sponsors are winning, but they won 2 or 3 other things. They donated things back, and people bid on it. It was just a great night, great fun. I'm going to be back next year, and I recommend anybody else that can go to this, look for it. We'll announce it again. But it was just some great stuff that goes on in our community. Then another thing, we become friends with Steel Nation magazine. Well, they also have a charitable wing called Steel Nation Association. Now, they work with the Steelers. And if you check this out, I don't know if you can pull in on the camera. And John, you're still hired, buddy. You did a great job. You want to use that camera now, or where are we at? This is live, folks, so I really don't know what's going on. This is, you don't have to be on me. Just pull that up. Let the folks see that. If you do it a little bigger, I can read it there. With Children's Hospital. Now, the donations will go to help fund children. No, I can't read behind here, Chip. Can you tell me what's on there?
Give it a punt.
No, from here. But this is a good cause, and you can check our Facebook page out because we've partnered up. Steel Nation Association is putting our logo and our information on their website. So you can actually check that type of stuff out. And it's www.steelnationassociation.com. And Mike, who does it, he was a guest on our show with John Wagner. He does a lot of charity. He's going to come back on our show, and they're trying to do all this by the end of the year, by December. So get your gifts in there. It's just great things that are happening in the community. We'll talk more on some of the stuff if we have a slow minute, but I don't think we will tonight. And we're going to kick off our next segment. This is called Revisit What Chip Said, what Smokin' Jim said, and what Zach said. And I want to go right to Aroyd right now. First of all, I've been on the record since the beginning. He's like a 4-time loser. Ban him. If Judge Landis were here, he would have banned him. Because he banned other people. So he'd ban himself if he were in charge, like Bud Selig broke his own rules. So he should be banned.
Listen,
get these guys out of there.
There's hypocrisy in baseball. You have Mark McGwire. Mark McGwire, an admitted steroid user, is still in the game coaching. Roger Clemens is still around the game, so it's kind of funny to me that you keep these noted users. They're still have access to the game.
Abusers.
Well, let's talk about last year. Melky Cabrera was leading the league in hitting. He gets popped for 50-game suspension, and he gets rewarded at the end of the season after being suspended with a $14 million contract. Johnny Peralta, Detroit Tigers second baseman.
Now.
Yeah, what's he do? He cheats last year. Not only does he get to play in the playoffs for his team, but he gets rewarded with a 3-year substantial contract. St. Louis Cardinals did. So I mean, the reason why these guys, it's worth their while to cheat because there's no real punishment for it. A 50-game suspension. When you get a 50, 60, $70 million contract as your reward, they shouldn't be allowed.
I want to interrupt you guys. You guys are talking. John, can you pull in on this? This is an article in our magazine by Dr. Chris about drugs in sports. I recommend you get a hold of us, check the communities, grab this magazine. Dr. Chris is a TV media type of guy. He's been doing this for years. When you read his article, this will give you some insights into what we're talking about, too.
I read it before we went on the air.
Great article.
It is a great article, but
what a smart guy.
Punishment? What was Vaughn's punishment?
He had house arrest, and he had so many rooms that they couldn't find him, even though he had an ankle bracelet.
What's Sosa's punishment?
He lost 100 pounds.
Yeah.
He was a bigger man.
There's no consistency.
No, there's no punishment for the crime. Subsequently, the crime will be continued to be repeated. But to speak to Smokin' Jim's, insights, and I know he, and I agree with him. I'm not a real big fan of RG Me, here's a young man, and the only question I have, and he's been playing absolutely horrible, and instead of taking it upon himself, a lot of people hate Ben Roethlisberger, but I'm going to tell you what, Ben Roethlisberger puts everything on himself. He never points his finger at his teammates. He never points it on his coaching staff, whether he agrees with them or disagrees with them. I mean, he has not
just
thrown
interrupt.
Todd
You
Haley.
can tell when he disagrees because he pouts like nobody else.
You never want to leave him in the locker or in the bathroom
he
because
has
he
never
won't
thrown Todd Haley under the bus.
He did last year, though.
Look at RG Me, and he is criticizing his head coach. He's criticizing his offensive coordinator. He's not taking responsibility. And this is what, he's an athlete, and I do admire the kid's heart because I believe he's playing injured. And you know what?
Oh, he's injured. There's no doubt.
He'd be better served to sit down and let somebody that's healthy play. He needs to do what's best for the team. Mm-hmm. And I think right now having him start a quarterback for the Washington Redskins is not what's best for that team.
Yeah, but it shows how the Shanahans are. And Smokin' Jim loves this, and I haven't used the piece of meat quote that he gave me all the time. But when the Shanahans are winning, they throw their quarterbacks out to the dogs. There's no way RG3 should have played when he was hurt last year. He was hurt so bad. They shot him up so bad. That could be a career-ending injury. He's not fully recovered. There's no way. He can't throw or run the same way. I'm an amateur. You're a professional. His skill set's not the same. He was fast then. Now he's not. He gets caught. He can't throw the ball. And throwing it in the end zone, he changed it because they called him out. He said he was throwing it away, just not far enough.
Well,
Just so you know, that was the latest report.
To speak to one last point about what Jim was saying and what the Washington Redskins gave up to get RG3. Now, Jeff Fisher, who I think is a brilliant head coach in the NFL, who's now with the St. Louis Rams. Sure, he gobbled up all those first-round draft picks. He'll use them wisely. But if there's anything that's been consistent about the Washington Redskins since Daniel Snyder has taken over control of that team, is they make the worst decisions on player
that money can buy.
Personnel. I mean, look at all the high-priced free agents he ever paid for. Can I mention Albert Hainsworth, the biggest bust ever? What did he do? He had a $100 million contract and
something like that.
And never did a thing for him. But Daniel Snyder's consistent. He's going to run that team of his into the ground, and I think RG3 is going to find out he gave away too much.
Jim Frazier, is it true that LeVar Arrington turned down a full ride at Gateway to go to Penn Hills?
Well, he actually went to North Hills, and his older brother, we did try to recruit him. He's from the city, and we tried to recruit him and his brother to Gateway, and this is off the record.
This is on TV. We're being seen everywhere.
I'm just talking to 300,000 of my closest friends,
and 1,000 on Facebook.
But we tried to recruit him. He was more into basketball than he was. His brother was a football player. His brother was a pretty good running back. And when his brother was a senior, I believe, he would have been ninth grade. And they ended up winning the championship. And he got hooked on football after that. And he was a speedster, fast in track, basketball. He could do it all on the hoop court. He ended up quitting to concentrate on football. But we really tried hard. But now in Gateway, we kicked a few math students out of the school.
Did you?
Boys, and we're working on some English students to kick out of school, and we're moving down to AAA next year. So we just got a few more numbers to get out.
Is this the truth? Or
Yeah, we're moving down to AAA next year to go after West Alabama.
You lose a legendary coach. Now you don't win the championship. Now you're going to AAA.
Yeah, so we're going.
Sounds like a conspiracy.
Yeah, so any of them boys that's in Gateway, that's a science student, math student, English student, all that, want to be studying all the time. We're trying to get rid of you, so we get our numbers down. We got to get our boys' numbers down.
Gateway going from Quad A to AAA is a product of drying up in recruiting funds and homeschooling.
Yeah.
And on that happy note, that's it for Revisitation. We'll have 1 minute for insane laughter, and then we'll move forward. And I'll go to the Sip Sports Bar. We had a great show last night, great guests. I want to thank Dan Kovacs for coming back. He did suffer an injury. I just can't believe the weight he lifted. 800 for one, 715 for another, 600 for another. Just unreal the shape he's in, and he was injured, and he wouldn't reveal what his injury was on air. And I want to thank Leanne, Mark Mackey, and everybody else that actually helped him, and I appreciate Smoking Jim, I'm being serious. And for all his fans out there that watch the show, this is an inside joke, folks.
Well, hey, folks, maybe we could get some insight into this inside.
Here's what it is.
It's only as funny as if everybody knows it's so funny.
I'll tell you off air, but,
okay.
But
cut his mic. Yeah. Cut his mic, John. Cut his mic.
To speak to what Alan was talking about with Dan Kovacs.
Yes.
He has such an amazing record going on, and he tried to set a world record that was set 39 years ago. And I believe that he's going to set it next year, and he's got it in his heart that he's going to come back stronger and better, and he's going to bust this record. And but he has been undefeated in weightlifting competitions for 20 years.
Yes.
Undefeated. That is, let me say that again. Undefeated for 20 years. That is just incomprehensible. I don't think that's ever happened in any sport, and then just totally blown away by that.
Not with humans.
And we got to take our hat off to Al Levine, the talking machine, for booking that guy, because, I mean, whoever thought, I was telling Al, was looking out on, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Ronnie Coleman. He broke Arnold Schwarzenegger's record for most Olympias.
Oh, yeah.
And
is he on juice?
Yeah,
without steroids.
And he has his own.
They're called Clear.
He has his own supplement line now. And so I was looking for some of his old videos, weightlifting videos, and who did I see who's being sponsored by Ronnie Coleman is Dan lifting routine. And it was unbelievable at Mackey's gym.
And they're all natural supplements. I saw photos on the wall of all these stars from Arnold to Dan. And when I saw that he was, around the area in Brookline, I found out now he lives in my hometown, old hometown of Green Tree. So shout out to all the Green Tree people there.
How many hometowns do you have?
Buddy, wherever they accept me, and it's all over the place.
See him next week.
I thought you were buried under Mercy Hospital.
No, I was born on Pride Street in the Hill District. And all you people that know where 105 Pride Street, Google that right now. You got it. Bing it. No, but anyhow, Sip Sports Bar was great. Trapper Tom was there talking about KSWA and their events. December 7th, they have another great event. They do a lot of fundraising, just some great things in the neighborhood. They were in Bloomfield, and it's just fantastic stuff that they do. We had another singer on who's been on, Lish Danielle. She sang. She does all kind of different entertainment for people for the holidays. You have to watch the video when it goes up. Just a great cast of characters. We have trivia night every Sunday night. Pittsburgh Sportsline is every Monday night. And we had the greatest meatball hoagies finally after 6 weeks. They were gone, but they're now there. And I watched Smoking Jim eat his, and he only bit one finger by accident. And then
You should have kept it off his sandwich.
I know. I asked him if he was done.
I know, it's good.
He said, "Yeah, I got to go." You know how he always leaves.
Definitely.
So Tuesday night is Campini night. Thanks to the Campinis, get that 50 cents a slice.
Finally got some of that, too.
Wednesday night is Smoking Jim's night with Ladies Night. They have drink specials and everything else. He's there. He's also there Sunday night a lot. I didn't know he's a trivia man, but he does that. And Thursday night's our wing night. Recommend the wing night. You can get those wings. Friday night's entertainment. Last Saturday night was one of the best straight blues show that I saw. It was delayed because of the Penguin game, but Miss Freddie Stover and her band, they were there. This is Smoking Jim's cousin. She missed him. Was talking poorly about him because he said he'd be there. Just a great performance. I stayed the whole time. It was just fantastic. They played blues like you couldn't believe. Some of her own songs, too. She writes, too.
She sings with such passion and such joy. And I'll tell you what, if you ever get a chance to see her band, take the evening to do that. You won't regret it.
And we'll keep updates. Check out our Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. We put all kind of things from sports, the local people, fundraisers, you name it, even where Smoking Jim's at. We try to keep track of him and Brenner Contracting. And Chip rides under the radar, so we'll just go there. And now we're going to go to one of my favorite segments on the night here, Fiction and Fact. From Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Hey, thanks, Al Levine. And I tell you what, I'm going to start getting into blues and jazz and stuff like that.
That
man.
country's killing you.
I love my country.
Big country's killing you.
I love ain't nothing like country, brother.
United States
Country,
of
line dancing, the whole bit. But my fiction and facts from Smoking Jim's Almanac goes back a whole week. And I tell you what, I met my main man, Al Levine, the talking machine. We met down at 3rd Avenue Gym. Got into the world's biggest limousine, and I tell you what, me and Al don't drink, but they had the hard liquor there.
Some malt liquor and some schlitz.
No malt liquor.
Some Colt 45?
No, in bottled. High class, Crown Royal.
I tell you what, man.
Jimmy Savetic and what the network spared no expense at.
And it was a great time, man. We drove from downtown Pittsburgh to downtown Dormont. And Hollywood Theater had the red carpet for us. We pulled up and signed autographs. And first person we see coming in early, bringing toys for the kids, was my man Chip and Stephanie. Didn't have no black Barbie doll like I was requesting. But
he needed a gift for one of his nieces.
You got a toy you could have donated that was black. If you had a black family.
Yeah, I'm not giving that away.
Mr. Potato Head. Mr. Potato Head.
And I tell you what, we went and watched the premiere, beautiful theater. Jimmy Savetic, CO. I tell you what, Channel 2 News was there. A lot of newspaper, a lot of reporters, a flashing of the cameras, man. A lot of great
You were in all
first
those.
line photographers.
You were always in the picture.
Aaron Wood, Devin Shea was there representing BPTV. Excuse me, BPTV. Excuse
You know
me.
what? This
Shannon
isn't
Sharp moment brought to you by.
Let me spell that out again.
But Al Levine, the Talking Machine, did a lot of great interviews for TV.
Did you see that 15-minute little clip there? I don't think you saw it. I posted on Facebook.
See,
I got to post
behind.
it on your page.
You got to, because I've been way
You guys have
behind on
front
my
row
first.
seats too.
And we have front row seats. I don't
You know
how
what?
I don't know how Ebony and
Esquire
I got
Network
that.
gave
Yeah.
it to us in Authentic Productions because we're friends with them.
But the highlight of it was afterwards, and Chip had to, he had to leave early. He had to be in bed by 8:30, and he gave me his bag of popcorn, and I went and got a refill for $1. And me and Al tore it up, and that was some good
Nothing
popcorn.
hit the floor.
Nothing hit the floor. So that's my fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Please watch White Collar Brawlers. Very honored to
Tonight
be
at 10.
part of that show.
On the
And-
Esquire Network.
Esquire Network, I stand corrected. I kept saying 160. It's 160 on Verizon. Chip told me it's 243 in Baldwin. On,
2:34.
Tonight is
234.
Pittsburgh's episode. The first
And that's the
episode
one we
watched.
saw.
Yeah, with Jimmy.
we
Svedek.
saw it already, so we know who
And,
won. We're not telling.
Yeah,
Nope.
we're
It's
we-
between
we
Alan
Call me.
Lou,
I'll bet we can place bets.
Alan Lou, and Paul Matthews. And that
Did anybody watch last week's New York?
I've got it on DVR. I
Got
haven't
DVR.
seen it yet. Yeah.
I heard it was great. I missed it. We were in transit. Remember, it took us so long to get back to 3rd Avenue Gym, then make sure our cars weren't towed out of the parking lot because Smoking Jim said, don't pay for parking. But we made it. All right, now here's the other segment that I really like, and it's not useless, Chip. It is not useless. And we didn't do it last week because we filmed the doubleheader, first time ever. Now this is
Coming
Chip's trivia time. He's coming back strong,
Coming
he told
back
me.
strong. And the first thing I want to touch on being that Smoking Jim was reminiscent about the White Collar Brawler, and that's a
week
boxing
ago.
themed show. 11/25/1980. Alan posted this today on Pittsburgh Sportsline, but I had this in my bag of tricks for today. Sugar Ray Leonard forced Roberto Duran to say no mas.
Wow.
The no mas fight.
I was in his
November
head.
25th.
I was in the Chipper's head.
Yeah, you
Stephanie,
were.
sorry.
That's okay, but you know what? That was such an amazing fight because Duran, the Roberto Duran that beat Ray Leonard 6 months previous to that was a different one than that showed up in New Orleans that night, and it was truly a pair of some of the greatest fights, and it showed what kind of champion Sugar Ray Leonard was because he came back there and he completely dominated Ray Leonard. But you know, it's. First off, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Thursday's a day we want to give thanks for everything that we've got in our lives, a day to spend time with your family, and it's also the only Thursday of the year that I feel that we should be watching professional football on TV. And this is a tradition that started way back in 1920.
Really?
Okay,
Wow.
the very first game on Thanksgiving, professional game, was played on 1920. There was 6 games played that day, and in one of them had Fritz Pollard leading the Akron Pros to a 7-0 win over the Canton Bulldogs,
Rick Pollard was black.
whose roster
Not then.
included Jim Thorpe.
So there was actually
Canton.
winners in Ohio at one point.
The Canton Bulldogs, whose roster included Jim Thorpe.
Wow.
That was the very first game that was played on Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yes.
The true turkey bull, unlike
Okay,
these other
then,
facsimiles.
I'm going to go through about a half a dozen or so of games that were memorable for one reason or another that were played on Thanksgiving. 1925 was the Red Grange debut. Red Grange at this time, college football was still king in the United States, and Red Grange accepted $12,000 to play for one game for the Chicago Bears, and he made his professional debut in a 0-0 tie with the Chicago Cardinals.
What year?
And it was in 1925,
Wow.
and that was the largest
12,000.
crowd on pro football history at the time, 36,000 people at Wrigley Field.
It ended in a tie.
Yes, it did. Now, in 1934, that was the first year that the Detroit Lions played in the Thanksgiving game, and the first year that the Lions were around. And the interesting fact about 1934 is on 11/25/1934, the Detroit Lions suffered their first loss in franchise history.
What?
They lost a game 3-0 against the Green Bay Packers. But the ironic thing about that was that they won their first 10 games. That game they lost in 1934, but 1934 is the first year that the Lions played in the Thanksgiving Day game and have played in every one since then. 1962 is significant. They called that Starburst. If you remember the Packers of the 60s, they won 5 championships in 7 years, and the quarterback for that team was Bart Starr. The only loss for the eventual NFL champion Packers that season came on Thanksgiving Day.
Really?
When Bart Starr was sacked 11 times.
Wow.
Next, we got the Mud Bowl, which happened in 1968. In a steady rain that had lasted 36 hours, the Lions were shut out 12-0 by Philadelphia as Sam Hall kicked 4 field goals, and it was now called the Mud Bowl. Now, the interesting fact about this game was Philadelphia was the home team in that game, and the home team was allowed to switch balls for the kick. So the Philadelphia kicker kicked dry footballs each time that he attempted a field goal, and let me see this.
You got too much trivia.
No, the Lions were kicking wet balls and couldn't kick any of them through. So
they were heavy.
This was before the NFL changed the ruling on that.
Was that when the field goals were still moved up?
Yes.
Or
Well, the field goals were at the front of the end zone. At the goal line. The next significant game, Clint Longley's shining moment, 1973. The Cowboys beat the Redskins. Clint Longley came out of nowhere and led the Cowboys to a victory over the Redskins. 1976, the juice was loose.
I love it.
O.J. Simpson ran for 273 yards in the Bills' 27-14 loss to the Lions.
Wow.
And if most people missed this play, 1980, Williams to the house. Chicago's Dave Williams took just 21 seconds to take the opening kickoff in overtime to end the game, and most people had got up to go,
I didn't see
clean
it.
off their dinner plates, and they missed that play.
Wow.
And two other events, Leon Lett's bonehead maneuver in the
Was that on
1993. Yes, when the Miami Dolphins played the
When he
Detroit
slid in
and
there and
Dallas
touched that
Cowboys
ball.
in an ice game, and Leon Lett fumbled a punt that he was supposed to stay
I
away.
bet I can guess your last one.
And the last one, go ahead, Jim.
That is-
Head tails.
Heads or tails?
You got it too.
Call in 1998. Phil Luckett, when Jerome correctly called the coin, and for some reason and that was such an injustice.
He had money on the game.
But everybody, enjoy your Thanksgiving meals. I would like you all to do what I plan on doing: eat too much and do nothing but watch football all day Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, the Steelers play that night, right, Chip?
Yes, sir.
And that's
Great
our
job.
segue, right? Thanks, Chip. I appreciate it. We're going right to Steeler talk right now. All right? We're not going to waste anything. I'll be watching that game at 8:30 Thursday night. I'll be on my third helping of turkey and all the other good stuff that goes with it. Maybe some sweet potato pie, hopefully.
Cupcakes. You'll be eating some good cupcakes over there, Levine.
Definitely. My daughter, Casey, she already made some cupcakes for other people. If you saw
I seen her
Instagram.
ad. I was going to call her to get some cupcakes
Yeah,
from
we
her
hear
ad.
all that. Here, you could go right
You never
here.
bring
Smoking Jim. We'll throw this out right now. There you go. Give a call. John, can you get that again, bud?
Come on, John.
Cupcake Creations by Casey.
I can't wait to get some. more
Making
of those.
memories
They're
one
so
sweet
good.
treat at a time.
And we've all had them. They're great.
No, she does make the best.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No matter what Smoking Jim, everybody makes the best.
Hey, Smoking Jim Frazier loves jam too. I guarantee you he has a couple bottles of jam in the back of his van right now. Never opened. This man never tasted jam. He don't even
This is
know
a
what those
disclaimer. These are only the opinions of
White
little Z and now Smoking Jim. All right, we got Steelers now. Now, I jumped back on the bandwagon after I said when they win 2 games in a row. Now, can you cut their mics? Come on now. Where's Erin at? They're not laughing like the little class of kids that she has there. No offense to those kids. We got big kids here. But when they won the 2nd game in a row, I jumped on that bandwagon, said they had to win 6 more to win out. And I'm holding to that prediction because 11-5 didn't hold up in my book. This easy schedule, the parity in the NFL, the way the division's falling apart, the way Cincinnati will have a couple hard games to play, plus we play them again. I feel they're going to win out. They're going to win our division, and they'll be in the playoffs. I'm on his bandwagon. People can disagree, but we've seen this happen before. Look at all these teams started out. They're coming back.
Well, I'll tell you what about the Steelers, and they have played their way back into contention. And, you know, the Steelers appear to be a humble football team right now, and they are not looking any further than the game they're playing Thursday night.
Because they play.
And I tell you what, you know, I mean, this goes for just about every game that they're going to play as the season goes on. Every game for them is must win. And I do believe that we are in a position where we could go down there and really hand it to the Ravens and take control of our own fate as the year goes on. And really, we don't have to worry about what anybody else is doing. No. If we continue winning, we are going to end up in a very good place and playing football.
And I have to thank the coaching staff. We touched on it lightly last night, and that video is not up yet. But part of it is when you go to a no huddle, and then I know Ben doesn't throw anybody under the bus. He just tells it like he sees it. They asked him, how many of the plays does he call? He said all of them. And he goes, maybe 1%. Todd calls in, and he goes, I tell Todd, I heard this is almost verbatim, and I told Todd not to interrupt when I'm at the line. So if you're making statements on the fan, on your show, and you're saying that,
I heard that.
I don't
That's
understand.
in the no-huddle offense, though.
That only no huddle, and then the other stuff he calls audibles. But other than that,
It works.
Well,
no, I'm not against it. Wait a
He's paying
second.
dividends.
Hold it. You didn't get my point because I couldn't close this deal. Haley should not be the coach. He should not be there. When they've gone no huddle, their offense is much better. You got to give some kudos to Velasco for being the center.
Yes,
How could a
sir.
center
Yes,
come in
sir.
here and step in and you don't know Pouncey's not there? I got to thank him.
Because what they did, and they were real fortunate in the way they picked him up. They picked up a guy who started 15 games for the Tennessee Titans last year. So the guy,
He's a player.
Yeah, he's a player. He really knows what he's doing. But I want to make a comment to Alan, and in as much as there's been a lot of griping and moaning about Todd Haley, if the Steelers end up 10-6 this year, mark my words, Todd Haley's going nowhere. Now
He's getting fired.
Here's one of the things that I find somewhat disturbing about the Steelers' most recent winning streak here. Is they are doing this without doing the stalwart of what Steeler teams have all been based around, and that's a strong running game. Last week against Cleveland, the Steelers probably played their best all-around game all season. They only had 85 yards rushing. The week before they had against Detroit, they had far less. And usually when Ben throws for 350 or more yards, the Steelers usually end up on the wrong end of that equation. So. They did a good balance last week between the run and the pass, but right now they're winning on Ben's arm and on his group of wide receivers. Antonio Brown is playing like an all-pro. He was a bit critical of him earlier in the year, but he's actually stepped up to the plate.
We back up what he said.
Well, he's showing everybody that he is a number one receiver in the NFL. I mean, I always said he's a great number two. Possibly a number 3 receiver, but he is definitely every bit of a number 1 receiver.
Well, I don't know if anybody checked the stat line from Sunday's game, but Gordon, the wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns, had 200-plus yards receiving. So, as well as we think that secondary is playing, you gave up 200 yards to, and with 2 quarterbacks too, because we knocked out Campbell, and then
Well, let me just say one thing before you jump in, Chip, and that's another problem I had with the people that don't scout Baylor. That was saying that RG3 did all this stuff without a receiver. Guess who was his number 1 receiver at Baylor? Josh Gordon.
Well, and
to
speak to what, because if you look at that, Josh Gordon, all of the yards that he got were at garbage time.
No, they weren't, because right out the gate he caught a 50-yard
This is why Z's back here.
When Cleveland was out of the game and all they could do was pass. And now that's not, as good as the Steelers win was last week, let's not forget, it was the Cleveland Browns.
And the week before that, it was the Buffalo Bills. So it's not like we faced the
the week before was Detroit. In between.
And Detroit just lost another game.
We shut down Megatron, but, no to Matthew Stafford.
Well, did you see the hot?
Than just one wide receiver.
We messed up Megatron so bad he was handing the ball away yesterday. on
Another
Sunday.
note, the rookie,
yeah, watch the replays
the
on that
rookie,
game.
our rookie Bell had almost all those running yards that the Steelers accumulated. So
Right.
and he looks to be gaining form.
He looks
so.
to be gaining, but I mean, they need
Right.
to have a good balance of run and pass, and they don't need to rush for 200 yards to win.
50's good.
But as long as they are the wide receivers are getting open and Ben's hitting his receivers, more importantly, he's getting time to find his receivers
And they're not
deliver
giving
the
up
ball.
any 100-yard rushers either, and that
Well, the
that
defense,
hurts.
here's what's shocking. You hate to see a changing of the guard with older players, but now we have younger players stepping up somehow. So
Worlds.
right, I'm glad there's a
Jason
merit.
Worlds. How about that? We just before I went on hiatus 2 months ago, we were critical of Jason.
He was
Worlds
under the
and how
bus.
bonehead of a pick that was.
Right.
Well, in the last couple games, he's caught fire. So I think you just leave Lamar.
Now
Woodley on
I
the
heard a
sideline.
debate on TV. Who do you play if Woodley's healthy? Worlds.
Woodley and Worlds.
Worlds.
Worlds are going to play.
You playing both?
He plays.
And you give
Under one
Jarvis
jersey.
Jones away for a warm
No,
six-pack.
Jones is coming on. I actually saw him run like under 5 seconds a couple
I saw
times.
Jarvis Jones doing a Subway commercial with the Homewood brushed and roller.
No. Let me tell you something. You're assuming that Lamar Woodley's ever going to be healthy again.
That's a good
He
point.
has not
Good
been
point.
healthy for
Good
the
point.
last 3 seasons, and I
Good
think
point.
the Steelers ought to wonder about the money that they're spending on him, the salary
Good point.
cap.
You don't
that
have to
they're
worry.
taking.
They're going to make a
Then
decision
maybe they
anyhow.
will be better served to bring in
gone.
younger people that can play more consistently. Lamar Woodley, first few seasons, he was great, an all-pro, an impact player. He spent more time on the sidelines lately than he has.
Jarvis
Jarvis Jones is
Jones.
over pursuing badly. Like if you're watching these football games,
Yeah.
and you're watching closely on defense, Jarvis Jones continues.
It's because of his lack of speed. Somebody
Lawrence
told me.
Timmons did the same thing, and Lawrence Timmons is becoming a better linebacker. But
Takes 3
his
years,
first
4
few
years.
years, that's all he did was run himself out of
He
place.
did. You have to make this look good.
Another Steeler bust, Lawrence Timmons, and I'll explain why. But
Can you
before
do
I-
that now?
But before I do that, what would you do at the center position?
You
Keep
know,
Pouncey till he gets hurt.
That's a good question. Because now I would have said under any circumstances keep Pouncey, but Pouncey's another brittle brother.
Yes.
But
Here's what I do.
No,
You guys,
no
I
young,
keep
no
Pouncey.
young chicken.
Get out of
He's no
here.
spring chicken.
I
Velasco,
keep
though.
Pouncey until he gets hurt. I keep Velasco. We have a true center that's a backup.
Well, here's why
I've
Lawrence
said that
Here's
before.
how Lawrence Timmons is.
I gotta hear.
I'm
this.
glad you changed
I gotta
subjects.
hear this. He doesn't have a mic, folks. So we're
That's
not
all
gonna-
right.
'cause
Here.
Lawrence Timmons isn't a
Just
bust.
talk to me, Smoking Jim. They can hear you over here.
The reason that Lawrence Timmons is a bust
Talking to the mic.
is because
Just hold it up, bud. You're
I'm
used to
gonna
doing it.
say the reason Lawrence Timmons is a bust is because he cost the Steelers more money than any other single player in their team history. Don't forget that he was drafted in 2007 as a right outside linebacker,
Good point.
which I told them then James Harrison was the man.
And you're still going to the Steelers.
So now, not only did they pay Lawrence Timmons right outside linebacker money, which is equivalent to offensive left tackle money, which is the biggest money on the defense. But when he couldn't beat out a walk-on James Harrison, and now they had to pay James Harrison NFL Hall of Fame money. So now you got 2 guys on your defense making right outside linebacker money.
James Harrison might go down as one of the nastiest
Great.
linebackers to ever
Great.
play the game.
Yeah.
Let me take you back to Tampa Bay if we want, if you want to go back.
Let's go back.
James Harrison outran Larry Fitzgerald to the end zone, right down the
He had
sideline,
a-
right towards
Yeah.
me. I was right there, like, come on.
Yeah.
He
come
did
on,
have a
come on.
20
was at the
yard
game.
head.
Yeah.
He had about a 30-yard head start.
You was at the Super
But
Bowl?
you know
I was in
what?
the Super Bowl in Tampa.
But you know what? Why don't we focus our energies about Thursday night? Because I
Yeah.
think that now
Win.
that's the most important thing going on for the Steelers. And if you notice, there doesn't seem to be the passion that has been in previous Steeler-Ravens matchups with Ray Lewis gone. I mean,
Hines Ward's gone. No, Hines Ward's
Joey
gone.
Porter isn't threatening to beat up everybody on the
Right,
bus.
that's a good
I mean,
point.
they're 2 different teams right now. And I tell you what, if there's one team in the NFL that's got an offensive line that's worse than the Steelers, it's the Baltimore Ravens. And they haven't been able to run the ball. Ray Rice, where has he been? I mean, is he missing in action? I think he suits up every week, but he's nowhere near the Ray Rice that we've been noticing to see. You got Torrey Smith on one side, Jacoby Jones on the other, and Joe Flacco's chucking it. And I think, the Steelers, the Ravens are primed to be beat at home this week by the Steelers.
And you do have somebody. You do got a little thing. Remember last year, Coach Tomlin and Harbaugh almost got into it at midfield when he didn't want to shake Harbaugh's hand.
But I'd like to see that boxing match.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, I want to see that because I'm
Would
looking
it be
for.
still white collar brawlers?
Well, yeah, no, they're not on the same
No,
company.
okay.
Yeah, you got to work for the
But
same
they're
company.
still NFL.
Yeah, but that's not the same
Not the
company.
same
But I would like to see that. And speaking of the standard is the standard, I'm still being quoted. It's not official. You guys don't know the code. The standard's only the standard when you're above 500.
Okay.
Because we've
Good
heard
point.
nothing but crickets.
And we're still 2 weeks away
But
from
what
it.
about this?
Yeah.
Let me ask you
Go
this,
ahead.
though. At what point did Mike Tomlin override Dick LeBeau maybe in some of these decisions? Because is Kiesel really as hurt as he is?
Not at all.
Woodley is really as hurt as he
Not
is?
at all.
Kiesel will be playing Thursday night.
Yeah.
Woodley probably not.
I
He
don't
didn't
think they should be
override him
playing.
one bit.
I don't think they should be playing personally. I
Yeah.
think you stick with the formula.
My
that's
man on the
game.
inside, Tomlin, didn't make any of those decisions.
Well, I'll tell you
None.
what, the real
Okay.
person that's really stepped up to the forefront on the defensive line is Cameron Hayward.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
has really shown that, you know what, that guy's got some fire in his belly.
We met him.
And
We
he-
interviewed him.
It was a great interview.
That's
It
it.
was one of
And
our
I'll-
best
and I'll tell you
interviews.
what, he has been
Pete
getting to
TV.
the quarterback, which is something in LeBeau's defense the defensive linemen rarely do.
Yeah.
Usually the people that are making
As
the sacks are the linebackers.
as a fan watching the teams, you know, I like to see the big picture
We know
for
you're
the
a
season.
fan.
Right,
We
I'm a
know.
fan.
We know.
But what I also like is when these players that you see them play and they're improving their play because of adversity. That's what I like to see, some character. Like these guys, you know, they talk about maybe they're going to get benched and some of them stay benched. I don't know. We lost some offensive linemen. I don't even know who the offensive line is, but I see some of them blocking and tackling again like we had.
Fundamentals, and that's what I called out months ago.
Well, you know,
about
yeah,
fundamentals.
Exactly. I mean, they're getting in the way of people, actually.
Hey, you know what? They
playing
started out
football.
0-4, and there's a lot of guys on that team that could have just decided to just start mailing it in for the rest of the season.
Right.
And that has not been the case.
Right, and whether it's an inspiration from the head coach, he does have some great wisdom. I don't know how to use it in life because I'm still looking at it. I mean, I read some books and I see a statement come out of these books, and then he puts it as a metaphor for something they're doing, and then they don't follow through on it. So it's confusing to me. I think LeBeau's defense, they have to play the defense the right way and stay in their position, and you have to have the talent. And when you don't have that talent, you see it in the secondary,
Well, they
etc.
picked up that Allen on. You know, he's been a great.
I like
addition.
his name too.
He's been a great
Yeah,
addition.
yeah. But
No, it is.
this is absolutely the last year that you're going to have the influence of the Bill Cowher players on the team. They're getting old, so this is the last year. You're going to see the Steelers go into a long, maybe rebuilding process. How long has Dan been champ? 20 years? Ooh, I hope they don't be down that
Well,
long.
I hate to
Because
disagree
they're
with
going to turn
Smoking
into the old
Jim,
Pirates.
but the
after
Cowher
this year.
era that he left was 8-8. So if we get back to 8-8 in this last year of their players, well, that's good.
What
But
was
I
it?
think we're going to be a little
The
better.
year before Cowher left,
It's
what
a
were they,
down
Super Bowl
season.
champs?
Yeah, they were.
It's a down season
They
around
were.
the NFL, though.
But I didn't know that if you're that great of a coach, you win your first Super Bowl before you retire.
Just to kind of show you the
Just saying.
the landscape
Just
that
saying,
goes
buddy.
on in the NFL right now. It's Kansas City Chiefs
There's
last
a
year
lot
were
of parity.
2-14.
But we'll beat the
Yeah.
They,
Kansas City
they're
Chiefs
2
on
and
Sunday.
14
Amen.
last year, and they're 9-2 now.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot can change.
Don't
in a
forget
short
my
period of
Arizona
time.
Cardinals. I wouldn't be surprised
Pittsburgh
if they
West.
I wouldn't be surprised
Who's
if
their
they caught
coach?
Seattle.
Who's their
The
coach?
genius, Bruce
Okay.
Arians.
But you know what Bruce Arians' downfall may be is the fact that he's playing in a division with Seattle and San Francisco.
He
I think
don't
he's
care.
better. I think they can catch Seattle this year.
I don't think they're going to catch Seattle. Maybe the 49ers.
They already caught them.
I
They already caught them.
I think Seattle is actually.
You're
the
talking
best
to a
team in the
gambler,
NFL right
buddy.
now.
And with
And he
that,
cost me money. He called me up and said, "Hey, put everything on Peyton against Brady. It's a stone cold lead pipe lock at 2 and a hook."
Hold it.
And I go and I make the call.
never did that. But
So
I did
I can't-
but on the sports group, what did I guarantee
Tell us.
everybody?
Tell
I
us.
guaranteed that Arizona was going to be Indianapolis. I said, "Merry Christmas to everybody."
Yes, he did.
And they
And
were
I
like,
said,
yeah.
I normally don't want to bet, and I don't advise betting. This is all fun bets for us, except for Smoking Jim. But he now owns 3 houses.
Hey, and
And I had Brenner Contracting hasn't worked on a single one.
Doesn't matter. You got to
Guess who's
see him.
coming to dinner?
And
Brazil.
another thing
Oh,
that
Brazil's
Jim has
back?
always said is a lock on Thanksgiving Day. The Lions
Yes,
always
sir.
lose
Yes,
leading
sir.
up to Thanksgiving. Take the Lions over the Packers Sunday.
Yeah.
On Thursday.
Is Aaron Rodgers back? Hold on a second. Is Aaron Rodgers back?
No.
No.
Because if Aaron Rodgers is back, then
No, that's part of the problem there.
Making too
Look,
much
speaking
money.
of Aaron Rodgers, the team's in a downward spiral. They tie.
Wow.
Now that stopped their losing streak. It didn't help the winning,
Right.
but they had a tie.
Yeah, but you want to know
5,
something?
5-1.
You know what the funny thing was about the tie this year is that the players on both sides of the team knew what the rules were and that the game was over after overtime. Was it Donovan McNabb
Donovan
forgot?
McNabb,
Well, let's
yeah.
go to double overtime. No, it doesn't happen that way, son.
Well, in college.
And that's why he played the way that he played
Possibly.
in that game.
And for anybody that doesn't believe in concussions, that they're running rampant, they do. Because how do you forget simple rules?
And I don't
like
want to. We don't talk a lot of basketball on this show, aside from me always tripping about LeBron James.
Who?
Who's won 2 titles? He's going for 3 in a row
Wow.
this season. But,
Hold it. I was with them
Speaking
when they
of
won the
brittle
first
brothers,
and second.
Derrick Rose
Wow.
is a brittle brother.
Wow.
He has some weak knees. And
Hold it.
he's out
Don't
for
feel
another
bad
season.
for $49 million in the last 2 years.
Guaranteed money.
Cash. $49
Straight
million
cash,
in
homie.
That's it. Who
And in
cares?
Kobe's new contract, there's
doesn't
specific
$49 million again.
There's
How did
specific
he
language
get?
in Kobe's contract that says he has to pass the ball at least 1 time a game.
No.
In his new contract. At
No.
least 1 time a game he has to pass the ball.
I think that was.
To himself?
I think that was a Facebook joke. I mean, nobody in their right mind would put that kind of language into a contract.
We know.
Oh, that was really out there.
Yeah, look on Facebook. Look on Facebook. I
Smoking
think
Jim, you're missing so much.
I
Check
think
out Pittsburgh
Jim,
Sportsline on
I'm telling
Facebook.
you what, you don't believe everything you read, or in your case,
doesn't
don't
even
believe
read it.
everything you don't.
He doesn't read that stuff. Hey, by the way, how's that book that you're...
I haven't started. I can't wait to get started. I did pick it up today.
I asked to try... Yeah, because you had to move it.
What, Sidney Poitier?
One step closer.
He had to move it because it was still in his vehicle.
I told you folks that he wasn't going to read that book.
You know what? All I wanted to do
I'm
is read
determined to
it.
read it.
I wanted to read it before
Because
the
my
holidays.
best friend Gabby wants to read it after I get done.
I
so
know,
gotta
and where
get it
was
to
Gabby at?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, you know what? We're under a minute and a half.
That quick?
And, yeah, we're going to have to wrap this up. Z, what do you got going on for
Hey,
Thanksgiving
real
or
quick,
anything? You
I
know?
just want to thank the men and women fighting overseas and abroad that make up our armed forces.
And Devin Shea.
Devin Shea in the control room. I want to say hi to Tracy. I want to say hi to Kendall Lee. I'll be seeing you when I get out of here. I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, and I look forward to seeing everybody back here on Tuesday night in BPTV. So, see you later.
And
folks.
Monday at Sip Sports Bar. Z will be there this time, I heard. Well, maybe not, but go ahead. Smoking Jim, what do you got going on?
Thanksgiving is all my family lives down south. They all come to my house and I host Thanksgiving dinner. So I'll be seeing my mom, my dad, my brothers and their families.
And it's true that you don't cook.
Yeah.
Which
and
house? I love green.
it's the first time all year that my oven and stove gets used.
Nice.
So it's
And
gonna be
last.
a great time.
And last for the year. Chip, what's
Real
going
quick,
on?
I want to wish my colleagues here, Smoking Jim, Zach, Allen, John Kiger, Devin Shea, Aaron Ward, Matt's back here in the control room. Happy Thanksgiving to all you guys. Enjoy your holidays. Be safe.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Chip.
Chip.
And I want to wish BPTV, Bethel Park, everybody watching us. Thank you. Dave Cable, we know you're not an old man yet. John, thanks for putting up with me tonight. Matt Harkins is in there. Devin Shea, I don't know if Aaron Ward made it, but happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Eat more turkey. Thanks for watching. See you Monday night, Sip Sports Bar.